The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. That's right, I am your host, Bill Knapik. Thank you for joining us again on this radio adventure. In fact, I did some mathematics, and this is show number 350. Time flies in a tremendous way, and we continue, and we promise you every week to have incredible guests, do our best to entertain, inform, and even inspire. And today it has been Veterans Day week, we'll call it. We love our veterans. We thank our veterans. And in fact, today, our first guest is Murad Fiqi. He is with Keller Williams Platinum here in Houston, Texas. He is a veteran 2 times over, in fact, with the United States Marine Corps and the United States Navy. He is now a realtor for the past many years with Keller Williams. Murad, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
In fact, I know when you said the United States Marines and the Navy, many people say, well, how does that happen? How can you do 2 services? Tell us a quick word on that before we start talking real estate.
Sure. So I had a break in service. So it wasn't like I was a member of both services at the same time. I enlisted in the Marine Corps straight out of high school. So when I was 17, actually, I signed up and, they had to get my mom to sign off on something because I wasn't, I was still a minor. So I went to boot camp at 18. I did 4 years on active duty. And then I was honorably discharged, and I used my GI Bill benefits, went to school, got my bachelor's degree, and then I signed up for an officer program with the U.S. Navy, and I became an officer. So I had that break in service in between, and that's how I had the privilege and the honor of serving our country both in the U.S. Marines and in the U.S. Navy.
And what comes to so many things come to my mind at this point, but one of them is imagine, but I imagine all the things you've learned in the Marine Corps, in the Navy. You learned how to follow orders, how to lead, how to do so many things. So that is incredible. And once again, thank you for your service. And anyone listening that is a veteran currently serving or at any time, we thank you for your service. And of course, our first responders as well. Here we are, real estate in Houston, Texas. What a crazy year. Let's tell people, first of all, about the Keller Williams office you work at.
Oh, it's just a great office, highly energized, forward thinking. We're all about technology and adding value to our clients. Anybody, and I've always had that mindset. So, anybody can list a house on the MLS, on HAR.com, and just wait for the phone to ring. And, that's just typically how it's been done here in real estate. So we look for ways that we can use social media. We can do hyper local targeting where I can target people in any given area, target buyers. Everybody's on their phone nowadays, especially during the pandemic. So everybody's doing this all day long on Facebook or, YouTube or any of the other social media platforms. So how can we use that to effectively reach the people who want us to find them?
That's a great thing as well. Many people always take the pulse, and it does change all the time, but I think people listen to real estate shows, watch the real estate TV, look at the sections in the papers, just because something about real estate, whether or not we're buying or selling, doesn't matter. People just love the home. They love to see the decor and how people live. What is the state right now, this week, as you see it, in the marketplace here in Houston?
Well, the market's booming. There's an inventory shortage right now. So the last market update that we received from the Houston Association of Realtors showed us that there's about 25% less homes on the market than the same time period last year. Now, what is causing that? Well, I'd say there's 2 things causing that. Number one, you have the people saying, hey, during this pandemic, I do not want anybody coming to my house. And I do feel like selling. I am ready to sell, but I don't want anyone coming to my house, so I'm not going to put it on the market. And to them, it's not important enough to sell the house to kind of go through, different ramifications that we could have to hopefully prevent any spread of COVID in the house. And we can require that people wear masks and gloves. But some people still, even given all that, they don't want to put on the market. So that's one. And then number two are the people who have the misconception that homes are not selling right now. And nothing could be further from the truth. Pending sales are up 39%. Inventory is down 25%. And then on top of that, you have ultra low interest rates, which is bringing a whole bunch of buyers into play who might have waited till next year. They're saying, hey, maybe I'll buy now. And so you have those two different perceptions, the people who don't want to put their house on the market, even though it's a great seller's market, and then the people who just think that it's not a good time to list. And so that's causing an inventory shortage, in addition to the low interest rates, which is causing just this frantic wave of buyers. So it's just a crazy seller's market. There's about 75 days of inventory right now. So that means if no new inventory comes on the market at the current depletion rate, in 75 days, we will run out of inventory in the greater Houston market.
So then how are you advising buyers? If I came to you and said, look, I want to buy a home in this part of town and I have X to spend, what's the first couple of things you're telling me so that I can buy the home I want, myself, and my family? Number
one, it's a seller's market, and everything is neighborhood specific. So from this neighborhood to that neighborhood, there's going to be a little bit of fluctuations. So I'm talking about in general in the greater Houston market. It's a seller's market. So we have to be aggressive if we want to get a house. Some buyers we're working with right now, we've already made a fourth offer on a house because we've been just getting beat out. So right now you have to be aggressive. You have to offer at least list price if it's in the right areas again, and you want to look at it. Listen to your realtor, right? That's why we use real estate professionals. You can advise there. Exactly, and a lot of listings are getting 5, 6, 7, 8 offers within the first weekend. So we have to be aggressive. Well, one of the things you do, and you've been on the show before, you have done this for years and years. You talk about what Keller Williams does at your office, but you also take the technology, the social media to another realm. You personalize it, and you're out there all over the place. People love that. I love to watch your videos. So let's tell people what you're doing there. In fact, you're going to be in a magazine coming up January, right? Oh, absolutely. You did a magazine shoot and things like that. Tell us a little bit about that. Well, yeah, thank you for that. And thanks for everybody who watches my videos. I like to add some flavor. Something about boom. Yeah, some flavor. I gotta wake up people. Right. And to me, the Houston real estate business has been just so lame for so long. I mean, it's just the typical, listing houses, put an ad in the paper. I want to add flavor to the Houston real estate business, and I want to get excitement going. And that's why I do these powerful videos that get attention. And then I like to publicize them on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and get attention on these listings because it's my passion. So I feel really elated to be able to publicize someone's house and then just get this increasing attention on it. And yeah, I'll be featured on Houston Luxury Magazine, the December-January issue coming out next. So we did a photo shoot yesterday. It was exciting. And we're launching a campaign that is going to be like something you would see in an Armani ad or a Versace ad. I want it to be sexy and flavorful and exciting. In fact, I saw the behind-the-scenes video, and it looks like it's going to be all that and even more. Tell us about it. Before we started, you were saying here in Houston that there's an area of town you're focusing on. Certainly for people that want to buy and sell anywhere in Houston, you're a tremendous resource for them. But tell me about the area that you're calling it, White Oaks. Yeah, so we have a new building. This is the number1 new development in Houston, Texas. It's called the White Oak. And you can check out my website, Houston Luxury Real Estate, for more, HoustonLuxuryRealEstate.com for more information. But the White Oak is going to be the premier development in Houston. Let me tell you why. It has a centralized location in the Greater Heights on the corner of Houston and White Oak. So it is literally a stone's throw from downtown Houston, Texas. So, I mean, it maybe a 5-minute drive, if that. So you have a centralized location. You're in the Heights, which is highly coveted as is. And then the residential unit, so it's a mixed-use space with retail, restaurant, bar on the first floor. The next 4 floors are parking. So one thing you notice in the typical building, the first floor, second floor, third floor, those units are usually the hardest to sell. They're the hardest to get rid of. They have to go cheap because no one wants to be in a building and be on the first floor, right? Unless you get it dirt cheap. I mean, let's be honest.
I will say I lived in 2 high-rises in my life, and one of them was in Providence, Rhode Island. A side note, it was on the second floor, and I had a tremendous view. I loved that second floor.
So you had a view.
I had a view,
right.
But this building, you have views too.
Most buildings you don't really have a view on the first,
right.
second, third floor. You have to get higher to get a view. So noticing that, the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth floors are all parking. So the first floor of the residential is actually the 7th floor of the building.
The view.
Everyone has a view. And those are the 1-bedroom units. You know, as we go higher, you know, you get to the penthouse on the 9th floor. Everyone has a view of downtown unobstructed and the Heights.
And what are the price points in this building?
And they're very reasonable. So we're starting from $350,000 for the 1-bedrooms, and then going all the way up to $2.2 million for the penthouses. The HOA cost is super low at only 54 cents a square foot. Which you compare that to all the other new developments, I'm pretty sure that we can beat everybody. And we have valet, concierge, beautiful pools. We have multiple pools. We have retail, restaurant, bar, dry cleaning service. So, I mean, you have that luxury lifestyle for below the luxury price.
And Murad, we got a little bit less than a minute left. Let's tell people what else you would like them to know.
I would just ask everybody, follow me on Instagram at murad.fiki or at houston.luxury. I'm bringing flavor and creativity and pizzazz and sexiness to the Houston real estate industry. And HoustonLuxuryRealEstate.com. You can find me all the time. I appreciate everybody's support. Thank you.
And if they want to reach out to you by phone, the number is?
832-610-4290. And I'm very happy to be of service.
Again, the number?
832-610-4290, and that's HoustonLuxuryRealEstate.com.
Doing incredible work 24/7, even when he sleeps. Thank you for Murad for being on the show, and thank you once again, and to all veterans for your service. We're going to come right back with even more here on Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title.
Yes, sir.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Our guest is Matthew Reyes with Keller Williams Northeast. He is the team leader up there doing incredible work all the time. Hey, Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Well, people certainly here in Houston know the Northeast. They may even think about Kingwood when they hear that. But
beautiful place.
People all over the United States hear the show every now and then. So let's tell people, first of all, about your office, where it's located, and a little bit of maybe paint a picture of that beautiful Northeast of the Houston, Texas area.
Well, the Lake Houston area it's often referred to as that, and then specifically, the Kingwood area, which may get a little bit more notoriety. They often call it the livable forest, and it is just that beautiful community, beautiful part of Houston, beautiful part of Texas, to be honest with you. And that's what we call home, and that's the predominant area in which we serve. But the cool thing is the agents serve all across the greater Houston area.
It really is a beautiful area. In fact, we hear so much about growth in every direction here in Houston, Texas. Give us an idea of the marketplace right now as you are the team leader there. So you have your certainly hand on the pulse of what's going on all around your area within your office. What's happening?
I mean, the market is hot. I mean, the agents that we have at the office are they have strong production, and they're taking listings. I mean, we're struggling to keep listings on the board, which is a good thing.
They're moving fast,
super fast, and that's likely a little tribute to the low interest rate. But just give you an idea, of the production we've been having. Last in October we closed $54 million in real estate volume.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's just out of our 272 agents at the Keller Williams office.
Just 272.
Only
that's a team there, man.
Only 272, and so that's an increase of about 76% from month over month. That's a ton.
That is tremendous. Yeah, you're really doing some team leadership there with that crew. Give us a word. As people listening, they may be outside of the real estate world. Mm-hmm. They may be leaders as well in whatever their profession is. But give us an idea of maybe some of the things that you think about when you lead such a large, individualized group of people with all different approaches, but yet the Keller Williams keeps the thing on track as far as certain principles and procedures that you use. But from a leadership standpoint, give us a clue that maybe we can use whether we're not in real estate or whatever.
Yeah, and so what I like to do is just give kind of a comparison of sorts to put it into context. So agents, they keep really close contact and follow up with their database. The VIPs in my database are the agents at the Keller Williams office, the 272 agents we currently have, and of course we're looking to grow every day. Growth is a big part of us, and that's what we do. I follow up, not just me, but the entire team, from Michael Clapp, the broker, all the way to Pam Frontino, the market center administrator, to Valerie Webster, agent services coordinator, Colleen Louvier, the tech director, to even Melissa Waterwall, who's a director of education, Noreen Finnan, all of us at the office are there for follow-up reasons. So that's our database. Those are our VIPs, all those agents. And I think taking that approach to touch them, say hello, remind them of training, remind them of opportunity to help them grow, to be productive. We're an office of productivity, as that one stat showed. So it's really that, following up with them, reminding them, just being around them as much as possible, as much as they allow us to.
In fact, I'll take this opportunity to say hello to Michael Clapp. He was on the show. It's been years. This is show number 350. I think he was in one of our first 50 shows many years ago, but he's doing incredible work there and has a tremendous team. So as far as some of the things that are going on, let's say if you're a buyer and the market is such that a lot of people are moving right here from the center of Houston to Kingwood too. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, we're seeing that. People are wanting a little bit more space, and the livable forest, the Lake Houston area offers that, along with moving a little bit north and maybe even east. Porter, would be north, and then Crosby, Dayton. Some of those areas are seeing a huge growth opportunity there, and then plus with that 99 belt, completing that northeast circle, growth is just abundant.
As I'm thinking about that area, I've taken a drive not that long ago up 59, 69. What about Livingston? Do you cover that area as well? I have a friend that lives up there.
It's funny you mention that. We do. We have a really cool business center out there that services the Lake Livingston area. We have about 20 plus 30 agents out there as well that service that market, and that market is booming as well. Many people are, again, wanting more space in light of the coronavirus. They just want more outdoor space, more fresh air, and we're just blessed to have that office out there and the agents serving that population.
So you're seeing a lot of activity, but also as far as 2021, with your company, I know you're in close touch with management at all times. You have growth as one of the themes for many, many years. Mm-hmm. So what are you all thinking about 2021 as a company? What are the words that are being talked about there at the Keller Williams offices?
It's more purposeful growth, right? The intentionality that we're taking from just evaluating our onboarding process, the relationship that we're building with people who want to become agents, those that aren't at KW yet, and then of course those we have in the office. We're being just more intentional with what we do, listening to what the agents need, and then executing on those needs, and then incorporating as many wants as possible into helping them really build their respective brands of real estate. And then of course, by doing so, then we have numbers like this. Like I said, we're 203 closed units in October. That's huge, right? And that's all attributed, again, to just being intentional. Right, not necessarily quantity for quantity's sake, but quality then I would say begets the quantity.
In fact, years ago, once a year, I know you have what's called the family reunion, right? And for those listening that don't know what that is, that's where I guess all the Keller Williams offices is in the United States, but does it cover worldwide too?
Oh, man, yes. And there's even a segment within the family reunion conference where we announce we announce those that are coming from the world, of the different countries of the world coming to the United States. And then at the same time, we announce new territories that we're launching KW offices.
And it's also the time for your leadership to have the messages and inspiration go out to tie everyone together. I say this as it has been many years, but I got to be at one many years ago in Las Vegas, and it was in an auditorium, a conference, not a conference center, but a stadium, really. And I was like, hey, I need to sign up with these. It was really something and inspiring to behold.
Yeah, there's thousands of agents that go out there, and it is really not just to pump you up for pump it up sake, but it's, again, it just goes back with the intentionality of what we do. It's for a purpose. That the reason we come together as what we call family reunion is to bring together, the top minds, share and disseminate the best and most effective information. We take as many agents as we can from our market center, those that are able, given the time, to just listen, hear some of those ideas, and then bring back items to execute on to continue to grow their business.
That's awesome. Are they going to have it this year in February? Is that when they have it?
Yeah, the cool thing is it's supposed to be in Vegas. So
maybe I ought to go.
And I know that's a perfect opportunity for you to get to know the KW family reunion and experience it again. And we'll see how it plays out. Right now, the intention is to have it live. And of course, given the circumstances,
who knows?
Right. So there'll likely be a virtual component to it as well. Guaranteed, the virtual component. We'll see, hopefully, if the live event takes place.
And let's come back to Kingwood, the Kingwood area, and to Houston, Texas. As I mentioned, you have people that are moving to Kingwood from Houston that want to go a little further out, bigger house, change of scenery or whatever. But also, what are you seeing when people are coming from? Where are you seeing them come from other areas outside of, say, Texas? Are you seeing that?
Yeah, I mean, agents are experiencing people moving from other, parts of Texas, even, of course, in different parts of the state. And I would say, the influx can be anywhere from, California, New York. I mean, the most notable transfer to Texas would be, of course, Joe Rogan, buying that beautiful Texas mansion over in Austin, the heart of KW. Central is over there. KW
I wonder if it was one of your agents that sold it. I don't know.
Time will tell. I haven't read that deep.
It's probably under wraps, the whole deal. But yeah. It was quite a move from California to Texas. But let's say when they find Kingwood, someone from New York, Ohio, wherever, when they come to your office or go through one of your agents, what word do you hear? How did they find out about Kingwood, or what was it about Kingwood? Do you think that they said, "Man, of all the places in Houston, I'm gonna find an agent in Kingwood and learn about Kingwood and buy a house there"?
For sure, I would say likely it comes through just relationships and building those relationships, and often even referrals from the giant KW network we have. We have 160,000 plus agents, so those referrals come directly between that, and then we have an extensive through the KW Command platform. We make it so easy for agents to refer business across places and even observe some of those migration patterns through the referral network that we have. And again, many of those are from the notable places, California, New York, and wherever that may be, from maybe bigger metropolitan areas. And granted, Houston is a huge metropolitan area itself, but we have great suburban areas like Kingwood that can still give them the fresh air, the space, and all for a very affordable price. A very nice size home from 2,000, 3,000 square foot, can be very affordable compared to the metropolitan areas.
And I would think every now and then you have realtors that are with other brokers that reach out to you and say, "Hey, Matt, what's it like to be on your team?"
Oh, man.
How many times a week does that happen?
Well, we often reach out as much as possible, or that's my MO, is mode of operation, to reach out to as many people that aren't with KW yet and share with them the value, right? And so one of the things that I'm sharing with them is that we're making the intentionality to just listen to the concerns they have for their business and then execute on those needs, right? Whether it's reevaluating their technology, and helping them adjust into a more robust platform like Command that can help them not just with database management, that's the given, but also lead generation through direct relationships with Facebook and Google, and then also manage the contract. I mean, sky's the limit. Even create media content and media collateral to post on their social media platforms, and then from there, just take a more consultative approach to their business. Talking with myself, business strategize, consultative with Colleen Louvier in-house and Melissa Waterwall. And then, of course, just the awesome relationships we have with, the staff, from, Miss Bonita, the director of First Impressions, to Cindy Tipton, who's also helps Valerie Webster with the agent services. I mean, we cover it all, and we just take the personal touch to making sure they adjust well into KW.
You have quite a team. In fact, we do too. Our man Justin Ramirez was the guy that brought you forth, and we're so thankful for Justin. He had a flat tire or something today, otherwise he would have been here. But before we close the segment, Matt, let's tell people what else you'd like them to know.
Oh, man, I just want them to know we definitely want to help them not just meet the goals, but exceed them, just get purposeful about their business. Just want to share with them how we can help them grow their business. So if you're looking for more value, and if you really want to talk numbers, talk shop, and talk intentionality about exceeding 2021 goals, reach out to me, Matt Reyes, at MatthewReyes@kw.com. You can also call me at 832-827-3545.
The number again is
832-827-3545.
And if they're driving, they can Google your name, Keller Williams Northeast. It's all going to be there, right,
Oh,
Matt?
yeah, they'll find it and, just say, hey, reach out to the best KW office in the Houston area.
It's gonna come right up. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Matt Reyes with Keller Williams Northeast. Thank you, Matt, for being on the show.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thanks, Bill.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Your errors and omissions and cyber liability insurance can help limit the threat of these risks if you know what to look for. Not sure if your insurance addresses the risks facing your business? Contact Stewart Insurance to be confident your brokerage can withstand these risks. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827. StewartInsurance.com. That's StewartInsurance.com, or call 866-798-2827.
Our special guest is now David Butel. He is with Rebate Texas LLC right here in Houston, Texas. He is a real estate broker. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill.
Well, right off the bat, the name of your company sounds like I might save some money or have the opportunity to save if I'm buying or selling. So let's tell people, David, about your company, Rebate Texas LLC.
Rebate Texas LLC is a buyer's broker. When we represent the buyer, we take 2/3 of the commission and rebate it back to the buyer at closing. It can cover all kinds of expenses that we have at closing, including very high property taxes, which are escrowed with insurance on most mortgages. So 2/3 of the commission for resale homes, where we have to do contracts and showings. 2.5% on new construction, where the builders take care of those items.
So it seems to me here in Texas, there's a lot of choices we have. First of all, there's so many real estate professionals out there, so many companies, so many brokers. However, one of the things that is nice about this abundance of help for us buying and selling real estate is people have different needs, right?
Absolutely.
So it sounds like your company, you're designed a little bit where someone doesn't need as much help.
Exactly.
And that really fills a special need.
Correct. And those people are often looking for a better deal to recognize the work that they've done using modern technology and internet resources to find the homes themselves.
Also, you have this company, Rebate Texas LLC. This was your idea. Let's tell people how you came about the idea and how your implementation of it.
So I'm not the only person doing this, and I did see other companies that were offering a similar service. But the idea came to me as I was looking for a home to buy myself in Houston. Found the houses myself that I wanted to see, and approached the listing agents and asked them for some type of discount, since I was coming to them, right? And none of them were really interested in having anything to do with that. So hence my idea to unlock that value for buyers by being a broker, receiving that 3%, and then having the discretion to rebate some of that to the buyer.
So as far as the area, let's talk about area. Houston is such a big area. People listening outside of, there are people that hear the show that never even been to Houston, but it is a giant area, the fourth largest city. How do you approach geographically this model, this discount model that you have?
So because I'm limiting the number of showings I'm offering, I work all over the Houston area. So sometimes it's a 2-hour drive each way to Conroe, but if I'm only doing a handful of showings and then writing up the contract, it's still worthwhile for me.
So it works out. So where are you based though? Where's the office at?
Based in Siena.
So if you're in Siena, you can help people. Do you ever go to Galveston too?
I do. Yeah, I have done a couple of listings or purchases down there.
So it sounds like that you're pretty flexible, but also as you're serving buyers and sellers, you have your model in mind. So if someone calls you up, let's say, and says, okay, I want to buy a home and I want to spend, I don't know, let's pick a number, $400,000, and I want to be in this area. How can you help me as far as that buying procedure? What should I expect? What will I have to do myself? And how does it work, the paperwork and all that? So let's explain that just from the basic standpoint, because people are out there thinking, well, I wonder how does this actually work?
So when someone approaches me, like the scenario you described, I can set up alerts, just like any other full service.
And by the way, is that a common scenario?
That's also a good question. So in that scenario, I would set up alerts, give them daily reminders, notifications of any houses that come up so that they can jump on it. It's a really hot market, so you really need to jump on the best houses fast because
I was going to say
they will go
you
fast.
Better go, yeah.
However, most people who approach me don't require that I assist them to find the house. They've already shortlisted a couple houses themselves. And sometimes they've even been to the open house that morning, call me. In fact, I was working with one buyer late last night, put in her offer this morning. She went to the open house yesterday, called me, I want to put in this offer, and we did.
Just like that?
Just like that.
So that's a good point. They may have already, the people looking for the home or person may have already been on the internet, and they say, or let's say they didn't see the open house and they need to see it. Let's say they found 4 or 5 properties and they said, okay, David, I like your model. I want to see these 5 properties. Here they are. I saw them on the MLS. And then do you help them from there?
I do. I ask that they narrow it down to 3.
Okay.
Because I find that number really helps buyers to focus. There's so many wonderful houses available out there, and it's easy to get distracted. And just from my experience of over 400 transactions closed and working with probably more than 500 buyers, buyers who can't narrow it down to 3 aren't really
may not be a fit,
the best fit for my program. Exactly.
So you always have to have the model in mind, and also as far as the buyer in this case, their expectations have to be set right,
absolutely,
so that it all works out.
Absolutely.
And you advise them of all this as they go forth.
Right.
How does the briskness of the market this year, especially recently, as we know, you have to act. If I'm looking at take those 3 properties, I mean, there may be multiple offers on them or something, right?
Right. So I'll give recommendations based on my experience how to make an offer more competitive. Depending on the price range, we may be up against cash offers.
Or you may be a cash offer right there.
That's right.
Your guy may be the cash offer.
Absolutely. So what we're seeing a lot now with multiple offers is buyers that have offers subject to financing will do an appraisal waiver. So let's say the house is listed for $400, they're offering $410 with an appraisal waiver that even if the house appraises for less than $410, the buyer will still pay $410.
Interesting. Now let's go to the seller. I have a home. Let's say we'll take a even number, the $400,000 again. If a person has a home that's $400,000 and they say, David, I want to list my property with you, how does the model work there?
So on the seller side, I offer a flat fee listing program. The flat fee is $2,000. Part of that is paid up front. Part of it is paid at closing. Plus, the seller will also pay the buyer agent commission, which is typically 3%.
So a flat fee.
Right. So if you're looking at a standard 3% commission on, you said 400,000?
Yeah, that's 400.
Okay, so $12,000. You pay me $2,000 instead of $12,000. You've saved $10,000.
There's the savings. Now, what don't you do for that price that the person getting the $12,000 would do?
So
or where do you limit it?
Sure. So I don't do pre-listing appointments. I don't try to do a hard sell, giving you an expectation that your house is going to sell for more than the other guy that I'm competing with, which, for better or for worse, I've seen a lot. So the buyer or the seller comes to me. We discuss what I offer. We can tell pretty quickly or not if that's the model for them or if they're looking for something else. So I don't go to closings. I don't do staging.
I was just thinking, you must be reading my mind. I was just thinking about, yes, we're not going to get any home staging here, but that usually costs extra. But yeah.
But the seller is in control. If they want to do staging, I can give them some leads. They can pay for it. If they want professional photos.
Your client in this case could be a home stager.
In fact, I've had clients who, well, switching back to the buy side for just a second, who are real estate agents who can get more back from me than they would receive on a purchase net of what they have to pay their broker.
And that's why I'm saying this seems like it's nice here in Houston, Texas. I'm sure there's other areas, but it's nice with our abundance of everything that there's something for everybody should they be informed and seek the information. People may not even have known that this kind of service is available.
Exactly. And I think if and when the word gets out more, which I'm trying to do, and appreciate the opportunity on the radio. Yes,
I think there's a few people listening.
Yeah, that there's a growing number of people who can use these services and who appreciate the savings.
That sounds awesome. So, what are some of the other things before we close the segment that you want people to know about your model and about your company?
So we've been in business about 5 years. I want people to know that we have a lot of experience. We've done over 400 transactions closed, or I have personally. We've rebated over $2.2 million at closing to our clients.
I just want a percentage of that. That sounds good. Keep
going. The average rebate is in the neighborhood of $8,000 to $9,000. Sometimes it's a lot more. Sometimes it's less. If the property is less than $300,000, we do have a minimum broker portion of $3,000 on resale homes and $1,500 on new construction. So it may work out to be a little bit less than 2% or 2.5% on those homes in that lower price range.
Sounds awesome. We're talking with David Butel, Rebate Texas LLC. And David, if someone wants to reach out to you, what should they do?
They should go to rebatetx.com. And they can contact me through the contact form. My phone number, 281-201-6887, or david@rebatetx.com.
The phone number again is?
281-201-6887.
There he is, David Butel. Thank you, David, for being on the show.
My pleasure, Bill. Thank you.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Real Estate Matters would not even be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage the risks as the ratings spike once again. Just at the thought of John Bramlett coming to the show, being on the show. Here he is. Hey, John, welcome.
Thank you, Bill. Nice to be with you and nice to be back in studio.
Here we are, show number 350, and you are, of course, with Stewart Insurance, just for the newcomers there. It's always interesting to talk insurance.
Oh, it's fantastic to talk insurance. The highlight of everybody's day and the highlight of each show is our insurance segment.
We'd like to think so. And in fact, as you said, this is show 350, but somehow it seems like 349.
Only 349. Time flies when you're having fun. Absolutely.
No, yeah, that is incredible. But it is interesting because whether we like it or not, insurance is a part of our lives. And the more as we go through life, I remember when I was younger, I never thought about insurance. But the older you get, the more things that you acquire, the more you realize how important all the aspects of insurance are. And there you are at Stewart Insurance, providing all the needs for people with insurance, whether it's broker, cyber liability, broker E&O, all those things, but yet even the simple things like home insurance, flood insurance, car insurance, watercraft, all those things you're helping people. So that's why we think this segment is so important, just as a reminder and for people to learn. If it's just one thing they learn per show, John.
Absolutely. That'd be fantastic.
That would be fantastic, but yet we bring forth so many things. And today you're bringing forth...
Well, last week we talked about risk and exposure, and we had some conversation about that. So I thought we would continue that this week and talk a little bit about the industry factors that could increase those risks and could increase that exposure. Talk about some of those. The first one that comes into mind would be the condition of the property and the history of the property. So as we all know, there's no perfect home. There's always going to be issues with the home, whether you're buying it or selling it. So there's no perfect home. And each home is exposed to different kind of conditions. So, if you're in a really hot climate, there's going to be different issues there. A really wet climate, there's going to be different issues there. So understanding that history of the property and being able to share that history of the property with your clients is important, because what you don't want to do is for somebody to come back and say, you didn't tell me that this was in a high flood zone, or you didn't mention that it had mold issues in the past. So understanding what the property history and condition is an important thing to do. Understanding the property value. If you think about it, this is, we're responsible for, or we're part of a really large transaction. So understanding what that means and what those potential ramifications are, is important, because as a real estate professional, we're targets for that. If somebody feels like that we've misled them on the value of that property, and that kind of mistake can be costly. So truly understanding the value of the property is important. Understand area-specific hazards. So, in this part of the world on the Gulf Coast, understanding floods and what hurricanes can bring and what does that mean, and, understanding that there could be mold and mildew in a home. And, if you're in California, are you in an area that's susceptible to mudslides or fires? If you're in the Midwest, are you in an area that's susceptible to tornadoes? So understanding what those things are. And then if you think about, if you have somebody that's moving from one part of the country to where you are, and they may not be aware of what the potential hazards are in Houston, Texas, or the potential hazards are in Wyoming, as a real estate professional, we've got to be able to share that information. Or even greater, if you have somebody coming in from another country and they're moving to Houston, being able to explain to them what the different hazards are and what the different neighborhoods mean, and also have that understanding.
That's exactly right. There's areas, like you said, one of the things hazards that you didn't mention are tornadoes. There's parts of the country where that's common, like we talk about flood all the time. Tornadoes are also prevalent in some areas. In fact, the home I bought in Houston 3 years ago, before I bought it, as I was talking and looking at insurance with Stewart Insurance, I found it very helpful to have a conversation before I bought the property with Sonia at your company. And I said, Sonia, I'm looking at buying this house on 503 Main Street. That's not the real address, but anyway. And she told me a few things I didn't know about it. That was helpful.
Absolutely. It's important to have, there are business relationships that you need to have in life, or professional relationships, probably a better way to put it. You need to have in life, a good physician, a good attorney, somebody to help you with your taxes, spiritual guidance.
Good veterinarian, too.
Veterinarian, if you're a pet owner, a good veterinarian. But also from both a personal and a business perspective, a good insurance partner. Right. So you can have those conversations you mentioned.
And the point being is sometimes it's good to talk to the insurance agent before you buy the house.
Absolutely.
And then once you buy it, you say, hey, I got it, and then it unfolds.
Absolutely. So you have an understanding of what that coverage is going to be for that home. Are you eligible for what level of flood insurance are you eligible for? Are you in a situation where you're going to need to have wind insurance? So being able to understand all that, then you truly have an idea what that total investment's going to look like for your home.
In fact, I just had a random thought, and I'm thinking that just by bringing that idea up of talking to Stewart Insurance before you buy the property, as Tom Carpentier is one of our regular listeners, I think he'd be proud of us. I'm just guessing. I hope so.
Tom's always proud of us. So
Yay,
it's
we have a cheerleader, Tom Carpentier.
Absolutely, yeah. He's a great leader for our team, and he's the one that's out in the forefront of making sure that all of our clients are properly insured, and that he's the one that's leading that effort for us.
Indeed, he is. So it's a good point. That's right. We want to prepare for the risk, know what our exposure is at all times, and once again, you're helping people not just here in Houston, but as they listen on the internet or even on iHeartRadio, on the iHeartRadio app in other states, you're helping them all over the United States. And again, the idea is for us in whatever category of insurance to be properly insured.
Absolutely, and everybody's definition of being properly insured is different. There's some of us that don't need as much insurance, and there's some that are going to need significant coverage. So it's a matter of taking the time and working with your insurance advisor, and hopefully an insurance advisor at Stewart Insurance, to come to that understanding what risks and exposures you're willing to take on, and what risk and exposures you would like the insurance company to take on. And by helping you determine that, the outcome will be that you are properly insured.
And on the idea of preventative insurance talk, that also goes in a big way as I think back to car insurance. Should I buy this car, truck, or SUV, or should I buy that one? And before I do, I might want to call Stewart Insurance and say, look, because it's going to be a different price.
Absolutely. It's going to be where you're buying, what kind of car you're buying. Sure, it's going to be, is it new, is it used? Those all would come into an effect about what that premium could be.
Until we lift the insurance veil, we don't know what it's going to be. Because I think there was, I can't say exactly what it was, but I remember once getting ready to buy two cars, and the car that was the lowest price in insurance, it was very surprising to me. I don't know why it was, but until the professionals at Stewart Insurance or elsewhere look at the actual details on whether it's car, home, or anything else, till they look at it, you don't know. It's good to ask. It's good to be informed. And if you're listening, you're smart right now.
Absolutely. That's you've already made the step forward. It's critical. But again, it goes back to what's important to you. What's your definition of being properly insured? What's the type of coverage that you want to take on? What risk are you willing to take on versus risk you would give to the insurance partner? And once you understand that, then we can build a plan that best fits your needs.
Indeed. And here we are. You mentioned Tom Carpentier. Your team is always doing incredible work in terms of preparation, in terms of planning, business plans. And as we hear, like many companies, John, Stewart Insurance, Stewart Title, as we think about the end of the year, it has been a good year. It has been a crazy year, but here we are all planning for the next year. As the leadership at Stewart Insurance, give us some insight. And are there any things that we should know about that are going to unfold? I know you're doing a lot of planning, you, Tom, and the team over there at Stewart Insurance. What are some of the things that might be your one or two bullet points top of mind as we approach 2021 in the insurance world?
Well, I think it's a matter of, again, looking at, from a business perspective, has your business changed? Do you have more employees now? So if you do, chances are then there's more potential for some of the private information that you hold for your clients is more susceptible to being stolen. So do you have more employees? Do you have less employees? Has your revenue increased to the point that you might need some an increase in your liability coverage, your liability limits? Have you added services? So now I'm providing a broker pricing opinion, or I've added property management to the services that I do, or I've added a property management company to my portfolio. Am I adding additional offerings for my clients? All those kinds of things are important to understand and look at. And if there has been a significant change in your business, then it might be worth having a conversation, with your insurance broker. And the same thing can go on the personal side. Did I buy a house this year? Did I expand my house? Do I have a new car? Do I have a new driver in the home?
Did someone just turn legal driving age?
That's right. Somebody just turned legal driving age.
Our condolences if that's happened, but okay.
Are we having more people over because of the pandemic situation? So, is there some liability concerns with more people at the house? So again, what are the changes? What are the milestones in your life? And as you reflect back on what's happened to you in 2020 or your business in 2020, those are the kinds of things that you need to consider. And if there have been some significant changes in your life, then let's have that conversation with your insurance advisor.
In fact, one of the businesses that have changed dramatically is the restaurant business. They're doing more outside. They're doing more curb service. They're doing more takeout. So their business has changed in an incredible way. John, before we close the segment out and the show, what else would you like people to know?
If they'd like to have a conversation about being properly insured, whether it be their personal insurance or their business insurance, as a broker or a property management company, a real estate broker, a title or attorney agent, we'd be happy to help them out. They can reach us at 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. They can email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com. That's stewartinsurance@stewart.com. Or if they'd like to learn more about us, they can visit us online at stewartinsurance.com.
And, of course, 866-798-2827 works east and west of the Mississippi.
North and south.
Indeed it does. Thank you so much, John Bramlett, Tom Carpentier, Mitch Lees, Larry Warren, all the greats at Stewart Title and Stewart Insurance. We appreciate your support. And here we are, show 350, John, and it only seems like 349. But next week it'll seem like 350 perhaps. But we thank you all for listening. Thank you for all the support. And you can go to stewart.com/Houston anytime you want, wherever you are, to hear past episodes and see the roster, which I think right there is incredibly interesting to see the variety of guests, who they are, where they are. Stewart.com/Houston. That is where you can find that. Stewart.com/Houston. You've been listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title and Stewart Insurance. I'm your host, Bill Knapik, together with John Bramlett and the great team here at iHeartRadio. Thank you so much for listening. Stewart.com/Houston. And oh, yeah, let's be properly insured at StewartInsurance.com. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Bill. Always a pleasure. Looking forward to the next 350 shows.
There you go. Bill Knapik, your host for Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. If you are thinking about buying or selling real estate, whether it's residential or commercial, whether it's here in Houston or beyond, we would be honored to be stewards of your real estate transaction. You can find out all about us, the closest office, and so much more at Stewart.com. Simply go to Stewart, STEWART.com, find the closest office, and also to learn so much about title insurance right there on our website. Once again, we would be honored to be stewards of your real estate transaction, Stewart.com.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Your errors and omissions and cyber liability insurance can help limit the threat of these risks if you know what to look for. Not sure if your insurance addresses the risks facing your business? Contact Stewart Insurance to be confident your brokerage can withstand these risks. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827. StewartInsurance.com. That's StewartInsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.